Hey, Forge mates, welcome in. This is the best 2023 Supercut. If you missed any of our albums that we talked about in our best of the month, this video is for you. Stick around for it, jump around, see anything that you missed, be sure to put that on your list.
It's 2023, the first month, and there were some great metal records.
That's right, stick around as we talk about our favorites of the month.
Kicking off this list with Obituary, Dying of Everything. I couldn't believe I rated this album as high as I did. It seriously ranks among their best albums. The production is grimy and perfectly them in all of the best ways. Some serious bangers on this record, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. I love the filthy tracks like The Wrong Time, My Will to Live, and Dying of Everything. Awesome album. It's paced well at 44 minutes too.
Yeah, dude, arguably this is one of our most anticipated records of the first quarter, if not the entire year, and it didn't disappoint in the least. There are varying opinions out there, as obviously seen in our tier list ranking, but I don't think the last two albums were all that spectacular. For this to come out and just be as good as it is very much a breath of fresh air. The pacing and the overall direction of this record really put it as an early favorite in the death metal category.
Ahab, The Coral Tombs. It took me a long time to get my brain around the 66 minutes of emotionally devastating doom that Ahab crafted here. It definitely helped, though, for me to imagine myself lost at sea, chained to the bottom of the ocean, and just watching the horrors of the depths unfold in front of my eyes. It's one of Ahab's strongest records by far, with an album that you would want to put on if you just want a depressive aquatic doom experience. Yes, that does exist.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, we are very particular when it comes to funeral doom, despite it being one of our well-liked genres. There are very few bands in that subgenre that impress us enough to make it, part of our regular rotation. Ahab, really for me, has finally put out something just better than nautical-themed doom metal. There is a lot of diversity on this, which lends itself to support that 66-minute runtime. I totally agree. I think that this is one of Ahab's proficient records.
If you like your doom epic and loaded with narrative, you cannot go wrong. Katatonia, Sky Void of Stars. I absolutely adored this record, and I feel like it's probably going to end up on one of our, if not both of our, Album of the Year lists. For such a doomy band, they somehow inserted some upbeat and I'll say fun, dark, progressive rock vibes in their track list. There's some seriously earworm songs here, and after my disappointment with The Fall of Hearts and City Burials, it's great to hear the band firing on all gloomy cylinders again and delivering masterworks of their caliber. My favorite song on the record is probably Impermanence. I don't really understand why they had to have the vocalist of Sown on it. If you have a hard time connecting with the last couple of records, I think you'll feel a little more at home here.
If you haven't watched our tier list ranking, you should be able to tell that this is one of our favorite bands. This is a band that we adore for a long time now. I'm not gonna click with every single one of their records. They have 12 albums out at this point. The last half of this album is very strong. This one has grabbed us by the hand and led us off to Sad Town, and I'm not mad about that.
Yeah, how could you be mad in Sad Town?
No, you can't.
And Oceans, as in Gardens, so in Tombs. The Finnish veterans are back with another follow-up since their Cosmic World Mother release in 2020. If you love the straightforward approach of their last album, then you're definitely going to be happy here. It's more of the same, but it's definitely kicked up a notch with some symphonic black metal atmosphere that seriously works.
And Oceans, don't forget the ellipsis at the beginning, or else it's not right. They're a Finnish group that, man, they've really gone through a lot of changes over the years. If you're not familiar with this band, they kind of had some obvious struggles to find their sound. They took a long hiatus and then they came back swinging with 2020's Cosmic World Mother, essential listening here at the Forge. I really love the classic approach to the production on this record. Usually when I think of symphonic metal, I'm thinking overproduced, high fidelity orchestra samples, and this is not the case in this record at all. It's more akin to that mid-90s, early 2000s black metal. Dude, Cloudheads is like one of the best songs of the year. Fucking awesome.
If you miss the golden days of Dimmu, there's a lot of similarities here, and obviously done more in a Finnish style. If you dig that 90s symphonic black metal sound, pretty sick slab of darkness that you should check out. Tribunal, the weight of remembrance. Doom fans rejoice. If this is one of the more underground picks on this list, if you like your Doom along the lines of My Dying Bride, you're in luck. This is extremely well crafted and top-notch death doom, very heavy at times, pairing those gorgeous tones of melodic doom and mysticism with that kind of occult traditional doom vibe. It's a duo contrasting heavily brutal and slow riffs and growling vocals with stunning soft female vocals. The cello work too is a really nice finishing touch on a lot of these songs. Every song's crushing, massive, and emotionally captivating.
Yeah, this is a strong debut from this Vancouver-based band. There are a nice variety of tropes that I would expect to hear from the gothic doom subgenre fusion. I love the album art, dude. Like, you look at it and you're like, oh, how nice. It feels like a framed still life. I think it's a great debut.
It's a solid doom release. Definitely check it out. Inherits the Void, the impending fall of the stars. Melodic black metal from the 90s is near and dear to our hearts. If you love bands like Dissection but miss a tad of that modern flair, well, this is an album for you. This album is majestic as hell with the razor sharp riffing and massive keyboard melodies to round out that cascade of blast beats and killer black metal riffing and vocals. You can tell that the band has a ton of passion in the style too, not sacrificing viciousness whatsoever and leaning into some seriously impressing riffing and compositions.
Yeah, dude, this is one of the few possible sleeper black metal hits of the year on this list here. I love the bleak atmosphere contrasted by those really nice melodic riffs. This is atmospheric black metal in the spirit of Mare Cognitum, the Catafalque, kind of blended with that hook-driven nature of bands like Winterfilleth, something that I'd like to revisit, especially in the cold months.
Northeastern winter, man. Perfect album for the vibe. Nothingness, Supraliminal. Hailing from Minnesota, this old school death metal band surprised the hell out of me and Ben with some grotesque mashups of some killer death metal riffs. What I really enjoyed about this album is the band's ability to experiment with the weird, embracing dissonance and atmospherics, and also not afraid to knock things around a bit compared to your meathead death metal riffs that you usually hear in old school death metal. This album is definitely riff salad, I'll admit, but there's a lot of cool atmosphere that I don't really hear their contemporaries doing. There's a little bit of awkwardness in the transition sometimes, and it is a little bit long, but when this record hits, it hits pretty damn hard with a slimed up baseball bat to the dome.
I love this record. And you were like, dude, this album is just a slab of fucking death metal. And it really is. It feels like someone just drops like a ton of death metal into your lap. I love the dynamics in the playing. There's actually some like grittier, clean tones on here with the guitars. It's fucking awesome. A lot of mid-paced riffs to really just keep you locked in and headbanging. The vocals I thought were a bit monotonous, but for this kind of music, you're gonna be so focused on the playing and the riffs that the vocals kind of become like more of a support. You want to have moments where the vocals blow your mind, you know, and on top of just kind of a support thing. I am saying all this because I think that this band has what it takes to release something absolutely monumental. This is a great record.
Imperium, Decadence, Into Sorrow, Evermore. As stupid as this band name is spelled, I always thought it was a joke, to be honest. You're going to be hard pressed to find a black metal band that hits the bar as hard as this band did in 2023. The production is kind of nasally, but somehow in a good way because they pack in a modern touch, totally full to the brim with dark, ethereal, and powerful atmosphere. The drum work is also cavernous, moody, and outright gorgeous, constructing those grandiose, atmospheric black metal passages that you just get lost in. A seriously refreshing and vicious, gorgeous black metal record that I will absolutely continue to visit all winter.
Yeah, dude, the band spells Decadence like a throwback to like 90s gangster rap. It's like, why?
Decadence.
This is my first run with the band, so I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, giving the album title, I was expecting some gothic and doom influences. Happy to say that there's definitely some sorrowful melodies and patterns. I thought it was a little bit formulaic. The vocals and the pacing kind of droning at some parts. This is a really strong record if you like your post-atmospheric metal stuff. It's really unique.
There you go, contrasting opinions, boys. A lot of you guys complain that we don't disagree enough.
So you've always been on my side.
Riverside, ID.Entity. Riverside have had a hell of a fucking career with a shitload of albums, and I don't know how they did it, but they somehow released one of their best records in years here. This album feels adventurous, completely refreshing, and totally packed to the brim with exciting melodies and song structures that touch a little bit of the 80s in the best way. I love the 80s. Near and dear to my heart. I hear a ton of influences from bands like Rush and The Police on this album, and they definitely do their own thing with it, crafting some seriously masterful songs. Other than the somewhat lacking and kind of boring lyrical themes, I don't know why some people didn't throw a flag here, but whatever. This album is easily their best record in years.
Are you looking to cleanse your palate of some of that satanic bullshit that we have on our list? Seriously, if this album is like a chaotic good paladin coming in and like crushing the demons, storied career in the prog scene, I don't think they've ever released like a less than mediocre album. Thank you for raising the flag about the lyrical content. Some of it is just like, what?
It's very weird.
Yeah, and I definitely think that there were some wonky vocal patterns. They were like, and it's like during like this weird riff or something. It's like, what the hell? All you prog fans are gonna love it. Definitely one you have to listen to.
Thy Darkened Shade, Liber Lucifer 2, Mahapralaya. I'm a huge black metal fan that isn't afraid to settle into some mid-pace madness, and that's where this record sits, proud as fuck. I hear a lot of middle era Emperor influences on this record, and I'm not complaining. That's one of my favorite eras of Emperor in particular. And somewhat adding to the theatrical atmosphere, the vocals tend to hit all over the record, make me very happy. The production is also fantastic, showing that Thy Darkened Shade is able to hang with other big budget black metal records in the scene right now. This is an epic as fuck record that absolutely deserves repeat listens if you love a lot of texture in your black metal.
We've got another black metal hit on our fucking hands, dude. The bass lines drive me insane, dude. I love crazy bass lines, and this album has them all over the place. Dude, this is going to be a long time essential listening in the tech prog black metal subgenre because it just has that like occult, mystical, Satan worshipping, demon worshipping vibe, and it is so good. You have to listen to this.
If you miss Emperor and you want something fresh, this will fill that hole and other holes. Check out this video here if you want to see us rank all of the Obituary albums, including Dying of Everything. And check out this video here if you want to see us rank all of the Katatonia records, including Sky Void of Stars.
Go with the gods, Forge mates. Let the coral tombs suck you into the abyss.
We had some awesome metal albums in February, dude.
Yeah, we really did. And here's our list just for you.
Kicking it off with one of the bigger metal releases this month, In Flames, Foregone, released February 10th. Foregone is extremely good. The album is full of things that we as In Flames fans love to hear, those trademark soaring melodies, melodic death sections, and that sense of wonder that verges on power metal sometimes without being cheesy. This album nails that mix of heavy and catchy, and I've had some of these songs stuck in my head for fucking days. Foregone demonstrates In Flames' unquestionable desire to reacquaint themselves with the sounds that they have eschewed for 2 decades at this point. The album's best moments, we get vibes from their earlier records like Horacle, Jester Race, and Colony, but modernized with some of their later catalog alternative metal. My only ding on this record is the album is quite front-loaded and the more lackluster, but not necessarily bad, songs conclude the album. It's great to see that these boys still got it, and man, has it been fun constantly spinning an In Flames album again.
Dude, I've been waiting for weeks to talk about Funeral's Let the Earth Be Silent. Album of the Year contender right here in the Doom category. This album is simply haunting. By the time you're done spinning it, you've been left with the wreckage of your life just scattered about the place. There's definitely some of the best dynamics and tone on this record that we've heard all year. There's new noises and new sounds with each and every listen. This is an absolute must spin with the headphones on. Listen to this album front to back if you are a fan of the introspective, psychedelic, and somber varieties of metal.
This album just strips your life away and leaves you with nothing. Hellripper, Warlock's Grim and Withered Hags, released February 17th. Hellripper have quietly become one of the most important names in blackened speed and thrash metal. Hailing from Scotland, the one-piece metal master has somehow topped himself since the last absolutely phenomenal record that he put out. Warlock's Grim and Withered Hags immediately makes a positive impression on the opener. The Knuckle-Levy, as it demonstrates exactly what you should expect from the record with blisteringly fast riffs and contagiously melodic soloing, demonic screams, and lots of blast beats. If black and thrash should be anything, it's devilishly thrilling, and that's what we get here. Hellripper do this extremely well. Warlock's Grim and Withered Hags is fantastic. Easily one of the best evil offerings yet from this truly brilliant one-man band. My only criticism is I wish there were more bagpipes. That shit fucking rips.
Yeah, dude, super forward thinking with the bagpipes. If you haven't checked out our best of black and thrash metal video, you should do that because there's Hellripper and 9 other awesome bands that you need to check out. Frozen Dawn, the decline of the enlightened gods. If you love that 90s melodic black metal sound like we do right here, we've been putting bands in that subgenre on our list since we opened the gates of the Forge in 2019. And today I've got 2 picks to satiate your melodic black metal desires. First up is Frozen Dawn. They play a familiar style of vicious black metal that still makes us want to come back for more. The track Frozen King in particular stands out as an absolute ripper. Here, check that one out. I really had a lot of fun with this album. Listening to it, you get that majestic sort of power metal kind of vibe. It's black metal that takes itself seriously, but it's not afraid to lean into those melodic guitar passages, a la Naglfar, Yoth Iria, and Dissection. Get a hold of this record if you are a fan of any of those bands.
I was super bummed when you texted me and locked this one down, but you know what? This band is killer, man. Frozen Dawn, do not miss this album. Speaking of do not miss albums, Host 9 released February 24th. Host 9 surprised the hell out of me. I had no idea that it was even a project that was in the works until I came across it. All I have to say is, wow, and man, this thing fucking rules. It somehow became my top play of the month on my playlist. Host is a project of the Paradise Lost legends, Greg McIntosh and Nick Holmes, and it's named after Paradise Lost's magnificent yet polarizing 1999 album, Host. The duo makes it immediately apparent that they are exploring new and creative and gothic and new wave ideas. The textures on this album are haunting, addictive, and perfect to just lose yourself in. I love the contrast too between slow and moody, but upbeat and borderline almost dance club energy at times. The songs are always full of emotion and gothic vibes for days that just make my heart very gloomy and very happy. The orchestration and layering is gorgeous, and with so many memorable moments, it's a love letter to the goth scene of the 1980s, and man, am I here for it.
Great pick, man. Can't wait to check it out.
You're gonna love it.
Divisor, evil summons evil.
Old school Greek black metal trio Divisor have been very sporadic with their releases. Their early catalog is highly acclaimed, and it seems that the band have made a confident return to form with this newest record. This album features much more grotesque sounding vocals, and interestingly enough, it also features some more symphonic elements, bringing in a really nice cinematic vibe. This is my second pick for that melodic blackened sound, and holy shit, I think that this one kind of edges over Frozen Dawn a little bit. This is just a really cool record in a quick one with 10 tracks at 39 minutes. It's very nicely paced. This is a standout record from 2023. I'd give the edge to Divisor if we were going to put them head to head with Frozen Dawn.
I somehow missed this record, so I'm super excited to spin it. I've been in a black metal mood lately, and I'm hungry. Let's do it.
You're gonna eat it all up.
This was another album that blew my mind, and that's Sarcoptes' Prayers to Oblivion, released February 24th, a full-on intense black metal cacophony of riffing and brutality, exploring historical tragedies in chronological order. Sarcoptes blew me the fuck away, dude. Hailing from California, the band are a two-piece black metal project that seriously impressed me throughout its tight and really focused runtime. Sarcoptes has expertly crafted their own flavor of high-octane, full speed ahead melodic black metal. This album had my complete attention throughout the entire time, and once I finished it, I spun it again over and over and over again. This record slams you across the head, dude, with wild thrashy riffs roaring forth on an avalanche of howling shrieks and a relentless barrage of blast beats. Warlike themes are everywhere on the album, and the longer run times on the songs don't hurt the record in my opinion. With razor sharp ferocity met with brilliant symphonic elements, this is a metal album with some serious staying power in my playlist this year.
I am super intrigued. This sounds like another great black metal record for this winter season. I'm going to be spinning that one for sure. Xandria, the wonder's still awaiting. In an effort to be eclectic, I scoped out a couple of the symphonic prog albums that we put in our most anticipated list, and I gotta say, I was not let down, especially by this pick. This is my first run with Xandria, and man, I gotta say, I'm kinda hooked. I love their balance of beautiful symphonic elements and the more extreme elements where they pull tropes in from melodic death metal, metalcore, etc. If you've been watching for a while, I love a good symphonic album, and this one is an early contender for being one of the best of the year. However, it is definitely a burden to listen to. 13 tracks, 74-minute runtime. It's, it's a little long, but there are some gems on this record for sure.
I can see why you loved it. I scoped a little bit of it, and you're right, it's a lot to get through. I haven't even finished it yet, but from what I've heard, it's really, really good. Insomnium, Anno 1696, released February 24th. It is utterly mind-blowing to me how consistent Insomnium have been throughout their entire music career. For the last 2 decades, releasing killer album after killer album, improving themselves not only in songwriting, but also in production. They're a melodic death metal band that deserves far more praise than they get. Insomnium are no strangers to the world of concept albums either. 2016 Winter's Gate, for example, was drawn across one expansive and elaborate composition. Anno 1696 is inspired by a time where famine crippled the North and Torsaker witch trials were in full swing. The concept, which is based on an accompanying short story penned by the bassist and vocalist Niilo Savonen. This story and narrative intertwines with the music eloquently throughout the album's runtime. The production's great too. I love the drum tone. The guitars are huge as hell. The band did a fantastic job with the compositions, leaning heavily into memorable guitar melodies and leads throughout every single song. If you're a fan of the band, I think you're really going to enjoy Anno 1696. It's not as great, in my opinion, as Heart Like a Grave or Shadows of a Dying Sun. Those are masterpieces to me, but Anno 1696 is very, very good.
One of us was going to put this album on the list. It's definitely hard to follow up a masterpiece like Heart Like a Grave, but if you are sitting on this one for whatever reason, stop, listen to it. It's awesome. Oak's Disintegrate is certainly one of the more surprising Doom releases from this year. Unless you're in Godspeed You Black Emperor, I kind of roll my eyes at the whole 2 tracks of 47 minutes long thing. Like, especially with a subgenre like Doom, it kind of leaves too much room for interpretation, and I half expected the band to just kind of drone on for half the record. Surprisingly, that's really not the case here. Oak does a really nice job integrating different styles of Doom. I was getting hints of Saturnus blended with Yob, which is super unique to me. There are post-rock elements in here to help you carry through those long transitions and bridges. There's really great production on this record. I absolutely love the snare tone. If you consider yourself a big fan of the Doom genre, do yourself a favor and scope Disintegrate.
What's your favorite albums in February? Drop them in the comments and check out this top list for a tier list of bands that we've been ranking in 2023.
Go with the gods, Forge Mates. The hags and warlocks await.
March was surprisingly a pretty stacked month with metal releases.
We've got some great albums on this list. You're not going to want to miss it.
The fact that I have a power metal album on this list is a bit of a surprise even for me. Something about Camelot's flavor of the genre, though, does something for me. It's darker, it's a little bit more emotional sounding, and it can be heavy as hell at times. So how does their 5-year return since the Shadow Theory sound? Pretty fucking awesome that it's still 100% what I love about Camelot. The first thing that you'll notice on The Awakening is the top-notch production. It's easily one of the best sounding albums that the band has done yet. There's some serious confidence in these songs too. And although there are a couple of duds, there's some new rules in the Camelot playbook that hit hard and surprise the hell out of me. This is a highly sophisticated symphonic power metal album that seems to experiment and sometimes nail it, and sometimes also miss the mark, unfortunately. There are a lot of bangers on this album, though, and it's a little bit front-loaded, but I had a blast with this record overall. This is a band I would love to see perform with an actual orchestra. That would be so much fun. Definitely check this out if you are missing the symphonic, heavy power metal sound.
American-based Vrednesdal is back with the Fury, putting out their fourth full-length record, Sonic Devotion to Darkness, out March 31st on Soul Cellar Records. I had this band on our most anticipated list for this month, and let's be real, it should be no surprise that they delivered with this album. We are both guitarists here, and so we know great riff, tone, or gear worship when we see or hear it. The Goblin Reaper of Vrednesdal is clearly a lover of his instrument, as all of these songs contain thrashing riffs and ripping solos. Here, check one of them out. I'm really glad that the Goblin Reaper himself is playing with a drummer, Lord Mortkin. It really makes a difference in the feel of these songs, which absolutely sound best in a live environment versus trying to vibe with electronic drums. That doesn't always work out for everybody, present company included. The dings on this record are the Reaper's vocals. They're fine, but I'm particular about vocalists, and I think if they made some changes in that department, not necessarily with the lineup, but maybe with the delivery, the EQ, that kind of stuff, shaping it and stuff, I think that they would really be elevating themselves as a band. I've got a couple of records to check out from these guys that I missed. They've just been blasting them out since 2019 with almost an album a year. If you love guitar-driven black metal with hooks and riffs, get on this one.
Downfall of Gaia, Silhouettes of Disgust. This is a band that I have never heard of before and is quickly becoming a favorite of 2023 so far. I love myself some sludgy post-black metal, and the sixth album released by this band is a great place for me to start. It's been a while since I've fallen for a band that can embrace that lo-fi production, sound great, and write those lengthy post-rock sections that you can lose yourself in for days. You've got traces of Mogwai influence found all over Silhouettes of Disgust. It's almost as if Explosions in the Sky, Mogwai, also listen to Dark Throne on a regular basis. All of this is pure grim joy for the black metal diehards out there like me who have grown up with the genre and seen it develop into the killer black gaze subgenre that we love today. The long songs here are highly welcomed. They do it very well here. It let me lose myself for hours, letting this album just crash over me like a storm and just soak into my bones. This album really did it for me this month in the black metal category. That's why it's my top pick. This album has all of the best sounds of melancholy while still letting you think that there's a light in the distance. Ah, for a band on their sixth album, I have high hopes. This is a great record. Definitely check this out if you like post-black metal.
Enslaved Heimdall released March 3rd on Nuclear Blast, and this was a very highly anticipated album for us here at The Forge. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't pick this one. Brandon, you've been a longtime fan. You blow this band every time you can get the chance. Yes, you are. Me, on the other hand, I don't get this band, and that doesn't mean I don't like them. I just don't understand what the fuck they're doing, and it delights me. Heimdall is yet another addition to this band's progressive black psychedelic catalog where they continue to explore sounds outside of what their counterparts are doing. There aren't a lot of bands I can compare to Enslaved. I think Ulver and Borknagar come the closest, but even then Enslaved stands out as being in a league of their own. This album fucking crushes, dude. The second song to me feels a bit out of place with its meticulous long buildup, but the payoff in the rest of the album and the song itself basically kind of makes me forget how bored I was by the time the album finishes. One of their highlight records since, they've been doing this progressive style. If you haven't checked it out, shame on you. We're gonna wag our fingers. Check it out.
Sotana, Onus 1. Kalma and Ensiferum fans, pay the fuck attention. Of course, the Finnish have done it again with another unbelievable melodic death metal record with symphonic metal influences. This is their third full-length album, and I absolutely fell in love with this record on first listen. It reminded me of the times when bands like Wintersun, when they were good and weren't just trying to take your money, Northern and Kalma were huge, and holy shit, Sotana nailed the sound in the best fucking way. There's something about the power metal influence with the melodic black and death metal that just plain works here. They've added some other cool influences too that reminded me of the clean sections of Olden Domain era of Borknagar, and I'm totally here for it, dude. This is such a fucking awesome band. Check out this clip of Through the Mammoth Valley. This album is relentless from front to back. I enjoyed the hell out of the entire record. If you like that frostbitten, keyboard-drenched black death metal sound, you'll be right at home here, and you'll lose yourself in the frostbitten world. What a great surprise of a record. Definitely check it out.
And Mariana's Rest is not taking a fucking rest, Forge mates. We've been blowing this band for a couple of years now. Fata Morgana was an absolute standout of 2021. This year's released Air drops March 24th and easily stands out as one of the highlights in the melodic doom death category. This band has had forward momentum unlike any other in the subgenre. They've continued to deliver sorrowful yet memorable tracks filled with melancholy and some of the most emotional vocal performances we've ever heard in this subgenre. Seriously, this band has a great balance of fantastic music and vocals, coupled with the confidence of their sound. Check out one of these tracks, and I will prove it to you. This year has had no shortage of fantastic melodic doom death so far, and we will eat this shit up whenever we can take it, inject it right into our veins, please. Our mid-year and end-of-the-year lists in this subgenre are going to be fucking game of centimeters, dude. It's going to be like, or in our case, decimal points, because we rate things with decimal points. This album is going to be really hard to top, given its pacing, its delivery, and its overall construction. This one burns the soul in a good way.
Issel and Isadora. Man, this is a doom metal band that I haven't listened to in a long time, and this new record fucking rules. This is a doom metal band more in the melodic category, similar to what Donna Solace are doing right now. There's some seriously impressive musicianship and songwriting here that has me, as a doom nerd, totally spellbound. The album opens with The Songs of the Whales, which is also the first single. They did a fantastic job here maintaining the feel of the whole record throughout. What you get in this first track is what you get the whole time. The album has an epic feel and balances those heavy riffs with the melodic blanket of atmosphere that permeates throughout the entire record. The vocals glide along with that catchy cadence that is addicting and almost folky at times. Check out this clip of Songs of the Whales. The guitars weave that sad, beautiful melody and harmony that almost take up a life of their own throughout. The bass and drums, especially in the later half of the record, hold down a very strong and heavy foundation that reminds us of Issol's ability to just fucking crush us. If you love your doom on the romantic, heavy as hell, and melodic side, Issol are an awesome and refreshing take on the genre that I haven't really heard in a long time. I loved this record. It's a tight spin too, with no fat on it.
Mark's Diped is here again, another one of our most anticipated albums of the month. This album is out via Peaceville Records. This is a Norwegian solo act spearheaded by Thomas Eriksson that has been quietly releasing records since the early 2010s, despite their inception several years prior. They don't get as much fanfare as some of their counterparts, and that's probably just because I don't actually know why. I really don't. This band delivers that solid, frozen, cold igloo of black metal that we enjoy here at The Forge. I'm going to prove it to you with this convenient cutaway. Yeah, man, I know this band has been on your radar, and I'm still fairly new to them, but D.Entity stands out this year among their contenders for sure. It's safe to say that their highlight release is probably 2016's Den Vendrende Skiga, and I think that one definitely stands out as their magnum opus, but there's something about D.Entity that should leave fans of the band feeling pretty fulfilled. There was a couple years ago this month that Mork put out Katatonia, another formidable record from this band. While we aren't going to do a tier ranking on them, I think if we're going to throw a loose top 3 around, it's probably going to be these 3 records I just talked about. D.Entity, Katatonia, and Den Vendrende Skiga. Try those on for size, and you can thank us later.
Every time I hear this band name, it makes me think of Mork and Mindy, which is an American TV show from forever ago.
Yeah, the 70s.
Before our time.
Way before our time. That was like Robin Williams' first thing. Yeah.
They should make a black metal band called Mindy, and then they should tour together.
Like tour. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Entheos, Time Will Take Us All. Just look at that fucking album art, man. Absolutely phenomenal. Probably my favorite album cover that's been put out so far this year. I've been on a grind lately for some reason. I don't know why, with technical and progressive death metal. I didn't really like it for like decades, but now I'm in love with it for some reason. Entheos scratches those itches in the best way and in a new, refreshing way. This is some seriously impressive and ferocious death metal that's top notch. Every instrument sounds pristine and slick, rolling over you and just stabbing you with total precision. The vocals are fearsome and ferocious throughout too. I love those rolling bass lines all over the record with tight synchronization between the riffs and the drums. It's dizzying at times in the best way with their supreme focus and deliberate nature. For all its intricacy and aggression, the third Entheos album really fucking grooves. Check out this clip from Absolute Zero. This album has some really cool pacing to it too. The front of the record is blazingly technical and yet pretty catchy for some reason. And the later half feels more accessible. Entheos has set forth a killer technical death metal journey here that I absolutely loved, straying away from the predictability of modern deathcore and that hyper stimulation of wankery tech death and the overbearing mechanical groove into which gent, not a genre apparently, has pigeonholed itself. Time Will Take Us All blends all of its punishing ingredients in a way that's just sophisticated and highly exciting. Definitely check this out if you love tech death.
Burden of Ymir put out the epic folk saga Herot March 10th via Flowing Downward Dog Records. That's not the name of the album, right? It's just Flowing Downward.
Did you just make like a Crouching Tiger joke?
No, it was like a yoga joke. Canadian multi-instrumentalist Joe Caswell is the mind behind Burden of Ymir, and I really think that this musical act has the potential to be remembered alongside some of the other great one-man black metal bands that have been leaning into that folk sphere that we talk about and we love. Caswell harnesses one of the ancient tales of folklore, the legend of Beowulf, and incorporates it into this record. It's a strong concept, obviously one of the greatest fucking legends of our time, and the whole runtime makes you feel as if you're sitting in a tavern listening to a unique retelling of an ancient myth. There's a whole slew of instruments here, from the standard guitar work to accordions. Yeah, I never thought I'd hear that instrument in a metal band and like sound good like outside of like a polka ensemble. Take a listen to one of those moments. This record is stacked with memorable leads driven by whatever instrument is taking the front at that time. It could be guitar or accordion or whatever the hell else, some synth thing. There's fantastic guitar work, obviously, blistering black metal influences, in a tavern-esque atmosphere that is both homey and adventurous. Every year I enjoy at least one or two solid folk metal albums. This is one of those of 2023.
What are some of your favorite metal albums from March? Drop them down below in the comments and check out this list right here for our reviews and tier lists of 2023 so far.
Go with the gods, Forgemates. Devote yourself to the darkness.
April had surprisingly some great metal albums that were awesome.
This is our best list for metal albums in April. Stick around.
Let's kick it off with Cursebinder, Drifting. We got a debut full length here, folks, and oh boy, it's a banger. Polish-based black metal quartet Cursebinder have come out swinging with all of the sad, ferocious black metal riffs, and man, am I here for it. Across the 42-minute runtime, the debut album paints a vivid picture with vicious aggression and potent atmospheric presence. Cursebinder's modern black metal is just sleek, super sharp, and they've got me excited about what the future of this band holds. Check out this clip from Drifting. Musically speaking, the Polish quartet clearly have a preference for intricate flowing arrangements of elements in black metal, utilizing those shimmering synths and eerie melodic leads to add layers of depth and intrigue to their seething, vicious riffing and dynamic drum work. What I love most about this band too is they aren't afraid to just let things play out organically and develop over time. Long songs require a long time to reach their full potential, and these guys do it great. An absolutely killer black metal release that's definitely worthy of your time.
All right, another highly anticipated album from your Forgemasters. These guys caught our attention with their sleeper hit, The Rain Will Cleanse, a very overlooked album that dropped at the end of 2021. This band is composed of members with some serious experience under their belts. They don't fit squarely into that post-black metal category, I don't think, that their contemporaries are really trying on for size. There are some really cool throwbacks to dark wave, post-punk, and even rockabilly, like think a Sad Tiger Army. And I'm telling you, it just fucking works, dude. Here, listen to what I mean. First time I spun this record, I let it go on repeat, and I enjoyed it even more the second time around. I don't do that very often these days. I often find that I have to give myself some space in between albums, but I was really eager to spin this one again and revisit some of these tracks as soon as they were over. This is easily one of my favorites of the year, a top contender for our end of the year roundup.
For my progressive metal fans out there in the audience that love things a little bit brutal, you gotta check out Stormhaven with Blind Sight. This is my first run with Stormhaven, and I had an absolute blast with this record. If you love progressive death metal with some epic moments tinged with highly emotional and brutal moments, well, pay the fuck attention to this band because they nail that sound. It's a little bit tough to summarize the experience of this record, but I will say if you love mid-era Opeth, the epic feel of Symphony X, and the progressive feels of later Enslaved, Stormhaven are a fucking must listen. Stormhaven's music combines the aggressive and brutal elements of death metal with melodic and symphonic elements as well, creating a unique sound that is both heavy and also emotive. Their lyrical themes often revolve around mythology, fantasy, and existentialism, so it explores the darker aspects of the human psyche, and I'm here for it, man. It's awesome. It's just a fantastic progressive death metal album that I will definitely be revisiting.
You might recognize this album from our most anticipated of the month list. This was not at all disappointing. Elven King continues to prove that they are just not to be trifled with. I don't know what it is, dude. Italians tend to do extreme metal just so differently and very, very well. All of my favorite metal bands from Italy just stand on their own, and Elven King is absolutely no exception. This is a very refined piece of art in the folk metal subgenre. The experience that these musicians bring to the table is really on full display in their musicianship and their songwriting abilities. Take a listen to this clip. I'ma prove it. Dude, the diversity on this record is like staggering, man. Every song just has different elements that are pulled from other extreme subgenres, but they never stray away from those folk-driven roots that makes these elves truly unique. This is a record that I'm really eager to go back on. There isn't a single bad song on here. The production is fucking awesome. Thank you, Elven King, for this great album.
All right, my melodic doom fans in the audience, you gotta check out Fires in the Distance with their second album, Air Not Meant For Us. Our pals in Fires in the Distance are destroying the melodic death doom landscape and releasing some of the best goddamn metal from an up-and-coming doom metal band. This is the second record from the CT-based melodic death doom act that is a straight-up 50-minute emotionally devastating and gorgeously atmospheric saga. Take a listen to this clip from Air Not Meant For Us. Fires in the Distance blends the heaviness and darkness of death and doom metal with melodic and atmospheric elements, creating a sound that is both intense and hauntingly beautiful. Their lyrics often deal with themes of obvious stuff like loss, grief, and the struggle to find meaning and purpose in our lives. Everything that you want in a doom metal album. It's difficult to make me want long songs to be longer, and somehow every track on Air Meant For Us makes me want to spin it again. It's that good, dude. Album of the Year list contender for the Doom category. Honestly, check it out.
Ruah, 1296. Between this pick and Elven King, April seems to have won out in the folk-inspired metal subgenres. Some of you may remember when we talked about Ruah's 2021 release, Eternal, a fantastic album from this Scottish black metal troupe. 1296 is a great follow-up, showcasing all of the stuff that the band has been doing well and wrapping their unique flavor of Scottish metal around the epic folk saga behind the album. Have a listen to some of this record. This year has been great for those of us who enjoy our metal flavored with a tinge of folk. You've got master acts like Insomnium, Elven King, and Kalma dropping albums, but you've also got lesser known acts like Ruah, Swotana, and Burden of Emir also launching noteworthy records. This is why you're here, right, folks? Because you want to hear us talk about all of them. If you know, you know, 2023 has been a great year for all you folk metal lovers.
All right, black metal fans, Dawn of Ouroboros, Velvet Incandescence. When the single dropped for this record, my excitement for this album reached some serious heights. I wish I had camera footage of me listening to it. The first thing I noticed on my first spin of Velvet Incandescence was the amount of diversity in the compositions that are executed to absolutely gorgeous precision and somehow never sound disjointed. It's pretty tough to do. There's a lot of experimentation here too with vocal styles, high tempos, and melody, while somehow keeping everything just coherent and extremely well done. Check out this clip from Rise from Disillusion. Dawn of Ouroboros blends the aggression and darkness of black metal with progressive and atmospheric elements, creating a sound that's both dynamic and really complex. Their lyrics often explore themes of spirituality, mythology, and the human condition, and explores some of the darker aspects of the human mind. Wow. This is a band that is quickly gaining recognition in the progressive black metal scene, and man, is that hype absolutely deserved. Easily an Album of the Year contender in the black metal category. Check them out.
No more suspect. No more pain. No one will sit. Nothing.
Enforce returns with their fantastic demonstration of crossover, leaning heavily into all the great tropes from both death and the thrash metal camps. Have a listen to some Enforced. What I really like about this band is that they know their formula well enough to know how to pace themselves, dude. By the time my brain said, okay, I'm figuring out, where this band kind of meanders in terms of their songwriting, the record was fucking over. And that's exactly what I mean by good pacing. You could write every fucking crossover trope on an index card this big, but if you know how to carefully weave and navigate through these tropes and put the motifs into your music, you're keeping the listener engaged. You're not just spitting the same thing out into them over and over again. I was heavily engaged during the entire runtime of this record. There are some fucking rippers on War Remains and some poignant commentary on the military-industrial complex, nationalism, and militarism. Fantastic stuff from Enforced.
Melodic death metal fans, rejoice, because this album rules. Atavistia with Cosmic Warfare. For those of you who have become fossils, waiting for the release of Time 2 by Wintersun, well, Atavistia have come out swinging with Cosmic Warfare and grabbed my goddamn attention. I had not heard of Atavistia before the release of what is their third album, and I think I have found a band that could potentially dethrone the perpetual joke that Wintersun has become. Check out this clip from Cosmic Warfare. Atavistia's music combines the aggression and brutality of death metal with melodic and progressive elements, creating a sound that's very dynamic, super complex. Think Wintersun, Kalma kind of sound. It's just awesome. Their lyrics often explore themes of mythology and dream worlds, which is really fucking cool with this band. It's a nice breath of fresh air from the winter realms of Wintersun, and there's some stunning performances on this record with epic songwriting that spans all 6 tracks, amazing riffing, soaring melodic leads and solos, killer symphonies, and powerful, clean, and harsh vocals. It's just an outstanding production from front to back. If you love melodic death metal with power metal influences, do not skip this record. It's fucking awesome.
International funeral doom giants Mesmer have once again gone out and put on a clinic on how to execute and perform funeral doom in the most interesting way possible, of course. We love doom in all its variations, but the funeral doom subgenre is very hit or miss for us. When it's not done properly, it's boring, droning, and disingenuous, I think, to the idea that the listener is supposed to be fucking grieving in conjunction with the music. No, they are gonna leave. Mesmer isn't afraid to be low and slow, but they're also not afraid to bust out those contrasting moments that allow those dreary ones to really sink their teeth into you. Here, have a listen to some of this great album. I love the usage of the synths on this record. It's really unconventional in how they use them, and even more unconventional is some of the audio mixing choices. There's some wild sonic qualities on here. The guitars will flutter as the levels decay. It's just so weird, dude. It's they made these choices intentionally to have the atmosphere just be different, and there's these weird nuances. Definitely, if you're a sonic audiophile, put your headphones on for this one for the completely immersive experience. This is one of the cooler funeral doom albums from this year.
What did you dig from April? Drop it down in the comments below and check out these lists for best releases in 2023.
You can also support us by getting some great merchandise. There's some shirts and stuff down there. I don't know. Click around. You'll find it.
Go with the gods, Forge mates. The air was not meant for us. It was meant for the trees.
I can't believe May had some really fantastic metal records.
These are some of the finest metal albums, and you're going to want to listen to them. Stick around.
First one on my list is Frozen Soul, Glacial Domination. Frozen Soul is among the rising tide of Texas bands that showcase the darker side of the Lone Star State. Who knew that there was a darker side? Notably, members of Creeping Death and Power Trip are lending their support on this record, as well as a ton of awesome guest musicians, such as John Gallagher from Dying Fetus, Ghost, not that Ghost, the synthwave Ghost, and Matt Heafy of Trivium. The band possesses a remarkable talent here for delivering immediately effective tunes, skillfully bridging the gap between old school death metal brutality and timeless accessibility. Listen to this brutal part from Morbid Effigy. Among the album's highlights are several tracks featuring extended synth intros, which I love, including a standalone piece called Annihilation. It's one of the best parts of the record, in my opinion, which feels like it's been just extracted surgically from an 80s horror movie soundtrack. The songs Frozen Soul and Assimilator draw lyrical inspiration from John Carpenter himself, especially the movie The Thing, which is my favorite movie ever. And while other tracks like Arsenal of War and Death and Glory delve into subjects closer to home, this is just a killer death metal record that you absolutely don't want to miss.
Cattle decapitation, Terracite.
Don't be shocked. It's Terracite again. This is going to be talked about on our channel quite a bit here. Sorry, not sorry. By now, you should be used to it. And if you haven't heard how damn good it is, stop listening to me, go listen to it, and then come back. This is a spectacle in what death metal can and probably should be. Check out what I mean by this section in Just Another Body. It very well could be one of the greatest songs they've ever written. Dude, fuck. Man, I'm not going to talk too much about this band because our tier ranking for them really came out pretty good in regards to how much information that we fucking crammed into that 25 minutes. So go check that video out if you want to hear a bit more in-depth stuff about how awesome this album is and our history with the band because, you know, it's kind of personal and they have really cool records. They've come a long way. This is one that is going to be written into the Death Metal Symposium for sure.
Next one on my list is Thulkandra, Hail the Abyss. Thulkandra are among the masters of blackened death metal, and they have manifested some seriously impressive evil incarnations over their extensive musical career. That hasn't stopped them with their fifth release, Hail the Abyss. The ever-present founding member and driving force, Stefan Kummerer, has steered this project into an unstoppable powerhouse. Caustic screams unite with scattered intricacies all over this record, and it reveals itself with a promising opener that just sets the stage. But man, it's when the title track, Hail the Abyss, comes up that they crank up that intensity with ferocious blast beats and blistering shredding that pays homage to the mighty immortal. Check this out. This relentless assault is brimming with vigor and alluring tones that keep you firmly in its grip through its entire runtime. Thulkandra has proved time and again that they are more than capable of standing tall with the genre's elite, and this monumental effort may very well be their most awe-inspiring accomplishment yet.
Wintersea, Woven into Ashes, an unexpectedly strong release from this prog death metal outfit. Wintersea, their latest album, Woven into Ashes, really displaying some talent and diversity on this record. Check out what I mean with this clip. Kind of in the vein of like what Entheos was doing, Wintersea pulls a lot of pages from the Gent groove playbook, ensuring that the listener is going to get slammed with some mid-tempo riff or a spot that comes back a little bit slower to make sure you get your skank face on and your skank on in the pit. Check one of those nasty spots out and try not to start a mosh pit in your car. Fantastic usage of technicality and heaviness on this record without sacrificing melodic moments or even some beautiful, clean vocals. This one came close to being on my best death metal albums of the year list, so let that speak for itself. This is one definitely worth your time. Check it out.
All right, Black Metal Fiends, Non Est Deus Legacy. Noise, the mastermind behind Non Est Deus, has been pumping out killer metal records these past couple of years. This album marks his 5th release since 2021, which is crazy, juggling it alongside his other solo projects, Kanon Fever and Lipa, which by the way dropped an awesome album this year too. Now, all of Noise's endeavors have that unmistakable noise touch, but they also managed to carve out their own unique and distinct identities, both within and across albums, which is pretty awesome to do. Sure, there's some similarities here to Magua before you start being mad, but somehow this formula here sounds primitive and kind of refreshing, especially with those melodic, groovy, and washy moments like on 1,000 Years of Sand. Check this out.
Understood, yet truth is spoken. The sun is reached with legs and feathers.
Across Legacy, the moods swirl at Eddie, drawing inspiration from the dark and corrupted tales that Noise weaves, usually from religious tales no less, but with a spin. Let me tell you, Non Est Deus' latest offering is absolutely fantastic. It's grim, it's bleak, and it's built around a fantastic, albeit dark concept. Once again, Noise has delivered an absolute gem here, and man, is his drumming infectious.
The Ocean Holocene. The ocean has drowned us once again with their beauty, grace, and absolute masterful display of writing and musicianship with Holocene. This album blew our fucking minds, Forgemates, as we anticipated it would. They were kind of prophetic here. Check out one of my favorite songs, Atlantic. Brilliant, dude. Just fucking brilliant. How they move between viciously brutal syncopation to that sort of mild-mannered polyrhythms that you expect from like post-rock bands is just ear candy for us. There's so much depth on this record, both sonically and thematically. The video for the song Parabiosis has been playing in the background. Let's throw it over to a clip of that so you can get an idea of the atmosphere. Dude, I can't say enough good things about this record. We're going to be talking about it again for sure. This is best of the year material right here. If you haven't heard it yet, do that. The sludge progressive fans are going to go ballistic.
Escape. My body is prepared for my conscience forever.
Unearth, the wretched, the ruinous. Unearth is back with a bang, serving up their latest masterpiece as a follow-up to the epic Extinctions album from 2018. I can't believe it's been that long already since that record. And I also couldn't believe how freaking awesome their new 8th studio record is, folks. If you're craving some of that vintage metalcore with a primo coat of paint, this is it. Dual guitar theatrics, bone-crushing breakdowns, and the band's standard issue weaponry are all here just to beat your face in. The heroic riffing is scattered throughout Unearth's music. You can feel Buzz, their guitarist, his unwavering demotion to peak era In Flames and dark tranquility shining through, especially on tracks like Into the Abyss. Check this out. This is an album that is an absolute banger from one of the metalcore greats. These songs will undoubtedly fit in seamlessly into Unearth's epic repertoire and ignite the usual forceful and sometimes downright terrifying reactions in the pit from the devoted fans. This is a unbelievably powerful album that is instantly captivating, perfect for the gym too. Check it out.
Blood Ceremony, The Old Ways Remain. We were eager to be onlookers of the Blood Ceremony when we heard about their newest album, The Old Ways Remain. Fortunately or unfortunately, many of this band's old ways have remained on this album. Nonetheless, Blood Ceremony is a wicked doom metal band that should have you intrigued. Let me help you if you aren't already.
you've been brought out of the ceremony. How was it?
Yeah, dude, super cool band. Very nicely paced album with that vintage tape reel production. Is it groundbreaking? Not really. Is it moving the band in an upward trajectory? Slightly, maybe more of a little bit of a lateral movement. Outside of a few highlight moments, it's a bit similar throughout. The band leans on their tropes pretty hard, but it's worth it just to hear the amazing vocals and how they just glide around the music. Totally worth scoping at least once from front to back, as one would wipe. A few songs on here are absolutely worth putting on your psychedelic doom playlist. Check it out.
Nightmare, Deformity Adrift, prepare to be blown away by the dissonant and avant-garde brilliance of Nightmare, folks. In the vast landscape of modern death metal, they've carved out their own unique niche. Acts like Gorguts and Ulcerate, sure, they led the charge, but now Nightmare is proudly among the dissonant dark elite, proudly carrying that blood-soaked torch. This latest record solidifies their place among those bone-crushing, mind-flaying titans of dissonant, nightmarish death metal. There are stretches of hellish blasting fury and plenty of riffs that lurch and spasm like the death throes of a disemboweled giant. But Nightmare particularly excels at finding enormous, earth-shaking pseudo-grooves and all of that angularity. Just check out this insane section of Hammer of Desolation. This is a tight as hell 9 tracks, 32 minutes album that will catapult Nightmare into a wider eye of the death metal scene. Seriously, tell your friends this band deserves the recognition. Deformity Adrift is an impressively powerful beast of a record with an enormous sound and smart design that delivers brutality in the most addictive of ways. Trust me when I say that you will find yourself repeatedly diving into its disgusting depths.
Kalma, self-titled. Certainly a highlight of my year as a Forgemaster was hearing that Kalma would be unleashing their self-titled album. This is a band that has long been super inspirational on us as musicians, as fans of the melodic death doom genre. One of our song names was Swamps of Sorrow, and it had a very distinct Kalma opener intro. Yeah, good times. This album is very worth bearing of a self-titled moniker. The production is super cold, as always. There's a lot of care that goes into that live experience of the sound design. The synths and extras are all here in spades, as one would expect, and they're all nestled very well into the mix. Check out what I mean. Dude, there's an palpable aura of sadness on this album that only the finish seemed to deliver alongside their vicious melodic death metal. I think of bands like Wolfheart, Insomnium, and obviously Kalma, and how they're able to inject that tangible melancholy about death, loss, and the inevitable coming of winter. Awesome stuff as always from Kalma. They do not disappoint. Check this one out.
What were you digging from May? Drop it down in the comments below and check out some of our videos right here.
Go with the gods, Forge mates. The winter sea will consume you.
There were some awesome metal records in June and July.
Yeah, man, you want to hear all of these, be sure to stick around for them.
Let's kick it off with some alien tech death. The Zenith Passage, Datalicium. The Zenith Passage really hits the intergalactic gym in this album, flexing and stretching those musical alien biceps like there's no tomorrow.
We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger down here.
None of the songs got the memo about the slow days, apparently, and their power-packed marathons crammed with head-spinning twists and explosive drumming. It's a wonder that they managed to fit all that chaos into a snug 45-minute album. It is complete fucking madness.
Madness. It's madness, I tell you.
Datalicium is freakishly good at what it does. Laser-focused, I'd say remarkable at hitting every trope of the tech death checklist before it even catches its breath. For tech death connoisseurs, Dekadenz is a familiar old friend with some insane new party tricks. The Zenith Passage has taken a well-trodden tech death blueprint and supercharged it, not only showing off their strengths, but also embracing their ghostly influences to concoct the ultimate final form here. This album is a mesmerizing mashup of eerie electronics and tech death. It's a killer and worthy sequel to the band's previous nightmarish narratives. Do not miss this one.
I've got a lot of love for Saturnus, depending on what day it is. I think Veronica Decides to Die would easily be like in my top 10, 20 albums of all time. This band has the ability to mesmerize its audience, conveying deep human emotions through their blend of post-rock and harrowing doom. This was the song that got me pumped, dude. I absolutely adore the chorus on this. It hits so fucking hard. I was really hoping that the rest of the album would be on this level of epic melodic sadness. Much to my dismay, The Calling is truly the pinnacle of this album. What's wrong with that? Well, typically Saturnus does a great job of having a nice ebb and flow to their music. When the best song comes on and you've still got another 35 minutes of music left, well, I don't know. It just kind of feels poorly paced, especially with the bland track like Eventide to follow it up.
You knew it too. And then you walked away.
Teddy, hold that sad thought for 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Unlike some of my contemporaries named Brandon, I think the production on this one is fine. Fleming Rasmussen did a good job. Overall, I like this album a lot. I was surprised to find that a couple of these tracks are skippable, an unfortunate ding to an otherwise stellar album.
Voyager, Fearless in Love. This album is an adventure, man. Voyager's latest 80s synth pop meets prog metal epic is totally dominating my playlist. I love this record. From the catchy vibes to the brutal heavy cameos, this album is a prog metal party, and it brought the best snacks. The band brought in Sean Armanis from Make Them Suffer to join in on the unclean vocals, adding a dash of brutality and spice that I kind of wish was on the other tunes. But that just makes that track in particular all the more special. Submarine is an absolute showstopper, serving up a grandiose Devin Townsend-inspired finale. This record knows how to balance that prog metal goodness, channeling the spirit of other killer bands in the genre, while doing something totally unique with it. It's just a blast, especially with those 80s new wave vibes at times. Voyager's been clever too, evolving their sound without losing their signature charm, and staying accessible all for their new Eurovision fans, while dishing out the metal to the longtime fans like us. Fearless in Love has got the goods, dude. It's a colorful and fun ride that'll stick with you, and I think it's a new favorite of mine in their catalog.
Holy shit, dude, let's go! Almost a decade after their latest full-length, this progressive melodic death symphonic power shred fest is back, and fuck, they have been missed, man. If you love high-level guitar playing that uses advanced harmony concepts to create complex progressions, you had better turn this album on and pronto. There's no doubt that this band has reached their peak with albums like Pitch Black Progress and Holographic Universe, but to see them delivering such high-quality music in 2023 is nothing short of astounding. This isn't by any stretch of the imagination a perfect record, okay? Let's just get that out the way. There are a few similar, or as we like to say here, samey songs, but I promise that you'll forget all about that bland flavor when you get smashed in the head by one of their intricate syncopations, followed by the brutal
death growls.
Maybe not in their top 3, but I think easily one of the best of the year in this subgenre, for sure.
Black metal fans who love the woods, which is a lot of you. Black Braid, the brainchild of Skagasoa, a gust of fresh air that just blew onto the black metal scene, spicing things up with a unique blend of indigenous vibes and earth-loving mojo. His music paints a vivid picture like a sonic black metal Bob Ross.
We don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents.
Summoning the allure of North American deserts and plains as naturally as Norwegian black metal bands summon frosty landscapes. Unlike some black metal solo acts, though, Black Braid isn't shy about using the latest tech to amp up the depth and resonance in the tunes. Twilight Hymn of the Ancient Blood sounds so freaking crisp. You'd swear it was recorded in a mountain cave while you're right there with the band. No guitar crunch or drum beat gets lost in the mix, and I love that. It's just a great balance all around. My biggest critique of the last record was the lack of Native American sounding instruments, and while Black Braid 2 does step it up here, I do feel like there still could be more. There are other bands in this subgenre like Nechachwin or Panopticon who have done a really good job here, and I think there's room for improvement, but this record is stellar. It's a powerful and emotional record, perfect for the upcoming fall season or any woodland hike.
They cut the fuck.
Afford.
Vidoc in 2021 absolutely fucking blew us away with its variety of avant-garde, neo-folk, technical black metal. This one-man act has been dropping wild, unforeseen metal albums for about 2 decades, if you're not aware, injecting Hungarian influences into the music and themes of this highly talented band. One of the things that I love most about that Catafalque is how founder Tomas Katai has brought on a multitude of virtuosos, experimenting with wild fusions of genres that most bands in the metal category would never attempt to bring into their fold. Listen to what I mean. This album is so fucking engaging, dude. It's easily the heaviest record they've ever released, but they don't cram it down your throat like a lot of ham-fisted extreme metal bands. There's been a lot of comparisons to early Therion. Yeah, and I can kind of see it. The aggression on this one is just so intriguing. It's so good. If you've tried out that Catafalque before, you liked Vidoc, you better get on this one too.
All right, this is an album that no one is really talking about enough. If you like melodic death metal, pay the fuck attention. This is Aetherium at Storm's Edge. This album was quite the melodic death metal surprise.
Surprise, motherfucker.
They've taken the best parts of Insomnium and Bellicor and whipped up something truly inspiring and surprising. Each track has a unique personality and flows beautifully into one another. Sure, it doesn't change the game, but man, is this fucking great. There are some unique parts on this record too, like the tracks containing the Greek choirs of shouting warriors in a whirlwind of catchy choruses and furious riffing. What sets this album apart from its intelligent songwriting is each track feels like a mini epic, taking you through multiple movements before landing back on a familiar riff. It's like having 7 miniature albums all in one, all fiercely purified in fire, and it fucking rules.
Cast it into the fire.
The guitars are the shining stars here, without a doubt, spewing addictive riffs and soaring solos that drip with emotion. And the drums, the beating heart of the music here, drive with precision and indomitable energy. Aetherium's music is just too good to be held back. So grab your weapon of choice, folks, for a journey of perfect arcs, endless hooks, and pure mellow death goodness.
Before the Dawn, Stormbringers. Another band that has been in hibernation for about a decade, these Finnish melodic death metalers are bringing the storm with this brand new album. Like everything Thomas Sokinen touches, this album is very sorrowful, utilizing melancholic harmonies and melodies that you'd normally expect maybe from a doom metal album or a post-rock record. These are welcome additions to the typical gruff biker attitude that this genre is often associated with. There's a lot of hate for the new vocalist on this record, with some of you even wishing that the Dawn of Solace vocalist was doing the cleans on this album. I don't know what all the fuss is about. Paavo Lopati is a young, up-and-coming musician with a lot of energy, and if you ask me, he's got some fucking skill. Give him some time to work out the kinks, particularly with Before the Dawn. But I wouldn't say, skip the album because of the clean vocals. I don't think it's worth that. Give this one a shot if you want to hear some solid Finnish melodic death metal.
We're going to the thrash roots. This one is so freaking good. Cavalera Conspiracy, Morbid Visions, redone.
Nice.
Max and Igor Cavalera have taken us on a metal time machine here, and it is so sick.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
Their new releases are like a brilliant blast from the past, preserving the pure and exuberant violence of the 85 and 86 originals, but with a fresh twist here. Max's guitar tone is so freaking killer. It's like he performed a guitar exorcism and sacrificed it to the goddamn metal gods. Let's not forget Max's vocals too. Modern soulfly bark with the capacity for higher screams. He's like a metal werewolf, dude, and it's so sick. That reverb, he cranks it up to create a cavernous and evil vibe all over the tracks, making the music just feel bigger and meaner than ever. The Morbid Visions material is the true winner here out of the remakes, but the new Bestial Devastation is also pretty damn rad. Max dialed in that 85 guitar vibe while adding his decades of experience here. It's like vintage metal with a modern edge, and it's so awesome. And Igor's rhythms are so tight with just pure death thrash madness. These re-recordings remind us just how mighty the source material was too, deserving wider recognition and appeal. The Cavalera brothers are like metal guardians, man, preserving that raw and unpredictable spirit, showing true integrity and respect for their own metal legacy and, of course, the fans.
Fen, Monuments to Absence. Fennelly! This band has put something out that actually speaks to me. On paper, dude, this band is everything I want in a black metal act, with their fusion of atmospheric black metal and post-rock. Everything I heard from them, however, up until this point, basically just sounded like second-rate Agalloch. I couldn't get my head around what was unique and original with this band. Consider me converted, folks. That Pacific Northwest Cascadian black metal sound is here, but it drinks tea and insists on saying tally-ho every time you go somewhere.
Then at least speak English.
Fen have made it a point to remain unique, introducing clean vocals on tracks like Truth is Futility. Check that one out. The highs are high on this album, man, but to say it's well-paced would be an outright fucking lie. I would lie to you if I said that. It's fucking bloated, and there's really no excuse for it, if you ask me. I don't want to vibe out to the mediocre monotony. I want you to fucking hammer me with your best shit and get the fuck out of the way.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go.
Unfortunately, if you want to find the gems in this record, you gotta have to sit through some fat. It's still worth it, but don't blame me if you end up checking your watch a few times while this one plays.
What are some of your favorite metal records from June and July? Leave those down in the comments below.
Go with the gods, Forgemates. Remain fearless in love.
August was a little bit of a light metal month, but there were some gems.
You want to hear all these albums, and you want to hear us talk about them.
We have shown you how to ameliorate winding arms around you.
The Crawling, all of this for nothing. This UK-based melodic death doom band is on their third full length. They're leaning very heavily into depressive and introspective themes, the challenges of our waking existence, the suffering and pain of loss, grief, and tragedy, and just the immense struggle that we are experiencing as our world turns and burns. This is a tremendous take on melodic death doom that showcases some really strong and unique tracks, like the second track on this album, Another Vulture. Hey, look, the camera changed. Weird. That chorus, man, super fucking catchy, but this isn't upbeat, depressive doom. It's melancholic, it's bleak, sometimes reminding me of what Agalloch was doing when they incorporated some of their doom elements. Overall, this is a really nice surprise in the melodic death doom category. Be sure to check it out if you haven't.
All right, folks, it's time to bring on the heavy. We're talking about Humanity's Last Breath, the new album, Ashen. In their last album, Vald, Humanity's Last Breath showcased a unique blend of dissonant chaos, heavy atmosphere, and melodic undertones, setting them distinctly apart from the typical gent bands that we hear today. Their follow-up, Ashen, dives deeper into this unique territory. Notable tracks like Blood Spilled exhibit symphonic deathcore influences, while guitarist Buster Oatholm and Callie Thomair artfully navigate between heavy ambience and memorable motifs. Songs such as Labyrinthian invoke devastatingly heavy-ass vibes with their mesmerizing sonic destruction, while Instill captivates with harmonized choirs juxtaposed against intense blackened tremolo riffs. One big surprise in hearing this record is those Swedish roots start to shine through in some of these songs, blending melodic lines with intense breakdowns, evoking an otherworldly take on melodic death metal at times. So many killer vibes on this record, and it really is upping the game quite a bit. The album's diverse range encompasses ultra-slow, effect-laden breakdowns to innovative songwriting structures and all the other songs. The release is an auditory journey, man, culminating the end-of-the-world sound and transcending mere heaviness. Ashen illustrates how Humanity's Last Breath, while seemingly chaotic and disgustingly heavy, gracefully rides their boisterous sonic trademarks, defying straightforward genre classification. Definitely check this record out if that makes you at all curious.
Spirit Adrift, Ghost at the Gallows. Gotta say, this was a bit of a surprise for me. I don't find myself typically drawn to the trad doom bands simply because many of them are bland.
It's bland.
I don't want to hear recycled Cathedral and Candlemass riffs anymore, bro. This is why Spirit Adrift has made it into our top doom bands that you need to be on the lookout for list. Check that video out up here in the ether, wherever that link is. They've come onto the scene with an impressive set of skills, both in writing and performance categories. Check out what I mean with this clip. One of the things I love about this record is that live in the studio feel. It's as if you're sitting in the studio just listening to these guys rip away at these songs. It's just fantastic. The sound design on this one is just spectacular. It really does the band a service. Scope this one out if you haven't already for some reason. I don't know why.
Orbit Culture, Descent. Another up-and-coming Swedish band. I love it. Descent boasts a colossal sound, man. Over the past 3 decades, countless bands have attempted to recapture the overwhelming impact of heavy groove without seeming trite or unoriginal. Yet Orbit Culture might have struck upon something exceptional here. Guided by Nicholas Carlson's authoritative roar and the group adding diverse threads of melodic death metal riffs, synths, electronic elements, and the robust contemporary potency that other metalcore bands are incorporating into their music today. But this band does it better, in my opinion. None of these elements appear mismatched or forced either. Strings and choirs infuse drama into these songs, making my melodic death metal ears perk up. There's some epic moments here too, reminding me of Insomnium's windswept boldness at times. This is an album that is begging to be played in a giant arena too, on tour with bands like Gojira and other big modern melodic metalcore acts that are around right now. Those anthemic progressions are of such a high caliber, and my only gripe here though, I will say, is that there's a little bit more creativity I think that needs to go into the clean vocals beyond mimicking James Hetfield's signature "yeah" sounds. It's a minor gripe as a whole. This record is a goddamn whirlwind of righteous riffs, driving drums, and killer choruses destined to be carried out by massive crowds along with this music. Orbit Culture might just have ignited an all-important spark that we've all been waiting for within this subgenre. These are killer gym tunes too.
I lift things up and put them down.
Bees made honey in the vein tree, Aeon. This band has been on my radar for a hot minute with their first 2 albums, getting a lot of love for being tremendous, cutting-edge, psychedelic doom metal. Not gonna lie, bro, I looked at the runtime of 80 minutes and almost cried a little bit. I am genuinely glad that I gave it the time, though, because it really rewards you for being present with it. Listen to what I mean in the spot in the song Divergence. This record takes what I love about classical music and transfers it into the psychedelic doom post-rock strategy guide. There are a lot of long passages of atmosphere, followed by a hint of the leitmotif, and before you know it, you're in the middle of a full-blown section with that melody still going like 80 measures later. It's really cool.
You sure about that?
I'm thrilled to check out their back catalog finally, and surprisingly, this album has some replayability to it despite it being 80 minutes long. Pretty unusual for this subgenre, pretty unusual for something that's so lengthy. It's obviously worth it. Check it out.
Horrendous, Ontological Mysterium. Horrendous is a highly underrated and seasoned death metal group, and they have embarked on a devastating 5th release here. With 14 years of killer death metal under their belt, the band navigated some uncharted waters here, and boy are the sharks fucking vicious. Their history of shape-shifting is evident here. However, their latest effort is their most audacious yet, in my opinion. In under 40 minutes, this new record traverses various death metal subgenres, occasionally venturing outside of that genre with some melodic interludes.
Das fängt in mir als coming is.
It's a culmination of Horrendous's journey, yet also their most dramatic departure, characterized by a spirit of freewheeling creativity and just sheer enjoyment for the genre. The album opens with an atmospheric black metal gem reminiscent of Agolok or some other weird natural black metal band, but then all of a sudden you get into the death metal influences and it works really well. Amidst these extremes, the band delves into their signature progressive death metal style, though, incorporating more solos, unconventional song structures, and more unbridled experimentation than before. With a history since 2009, the band's coordination allows them to just shatter past subgenre constraints with blood-battered fists. This album kills, dude. If you love death metal, do not miss it.
Cataclysm Goliath. The trajectory of this Canadian death metal band is up for debate, but not here at the Forge, friends. I fucking love where this band has gone since their inception. It continued to put out punishing death metal, and Goliath is no exception. Their 2020 record, Unconquered, was cool, but I wasn't expecting them to follow up with something as bestial and devastating as Goliath. Mind you, this is their 15th album in 30 years. That's an impressive feat alone. I think that's what I'm getting at with why I like this album so much. Although the band goes through drummers like they're terminally contagious, their sound is undeniably recognizable despite the extreme nature of the music and, like we said, 30 years of experience. Whether you're a longtime fan of this band or this is your first run with these guys, you're in for a treat. There's at least a handful of songs on here that really should get you going. The rest of the album is no slouch either. Definitely give it a chance if you haven't.
Earn, A Feast on Sorrow. Here we go. I love metal that isn't afraid to go into emotional misery territory. This album has it in spades, dude. If you're looking to sate your appetite on some sadness,
We need emotional content.
rising to the occasion, the London trio, Earn, delivers an expansive sound on this record, amplifying the strengths of their predecessor by merging robust riffing and grandiose progressive metal elements. The album radiates confidence, dude, evident in the presence of two 11-minute tracks that just compellingly justify their length somehow.
You sure about that?
Amidst this, moments of accessibility do emerge throughout the record, and that's one of the things that I do love about a lot of progressive metal bands doing this kind of thing these days. They're embracing those earworm song structures and familiarity alongside the uniqueness and creativity in progressive music. In reading some of the lyrics on the album, the emotional power of A Feast on Sorrow extends beyond the sonic dimensions and lays a heavy burden, and I really love how they did it here. The frontman Joe Nally delves into personal turmoil, specifically addressing loss associated with mental illness. The first line, such as "Where do the memories go?" sets that tone, echoed in the album's finale, "The Long Goodbye," and songs like "To Die Twice" and "A Stumble of Words" just encapsulate that theme of losing oneself and more specifically losing your memories. It was a deeply terrifying and moving experience for me as a listener, but that's what I love about bands like Earn. I felt a deep connection here with this record, and it's one that I'll continue to return to, especially in the colder months. What did you dig from August? Let us know down in the comments below, and check out some of our other videos right here.
Go with the gods, Forge mates. Humanity's last breath is upon us.
September was a great month. We finally got some black metal.
Yeah, man, there is some of the best music of the year in this list, so stick around for it.
It's moldy in here. We're kicking it off with Tomb Mold, The Enduring Spirit. It's time to dive dick first into the grotesque.
Amazing.
We all know the metal scene can be a hype circus, with every album hailed as Album of the Year and every new band named as Metal Saviors. Sounds kind of like us. Weird.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Keep your pistols holstered here, folks, because Tomb Mold has actually earned their bragging rights, even though some folks kind of go a little overboard with the hype. It's been a while since I've heard a progressive death metal album lean into the organic sound of old school death metal, and man, does it work here. Sure, this album may not be the perfect death metal record, but does that even really exist? However, though, I will argue that it's a serious contender for Tomb Mold's best work yet. The sheer onslaught of mesmerizing riffs, mind-boggling leads, and butt-bending drumming, there's so much creativity here that I discover new things every listen. If you thought Tomb Mold was sticking to the same old mold, well, think again. They're pushing the boundaries of metal, weaving influences from the likes of Pestilence and Death into something that's kind of refreshingly unique in 2023. Sure, it's bound to have some divisive opinions, but that's what makes this record great. Tomb Mold deserves the hype, man. Crank this one, let the madness seep in.
Cryptopsy as Gamora burns.
Bit of a personal story. I have a strong love for Cryptopsy. They were forced on to me by this jerk off in a movie making bulletin board that I frequented as a young teenager. I never thought I'd be grateful for somebody cyberbullying me, but you know. This was actually the first album that I got into by this band, not knowing how much I'd be pissing off the metal elitists by passing on the Lord Worm albums.
How dare you?
Fuck 'em, dude. I love Mike DeSalvo's rapid fire hardcore style. It really fits in Then You'll Beg. But we're not talking about And Then You'll Beg, obviously. It's been 17 fucking years since that record. That's crazy. Cryptopsy has made a lot of like weird missteps in their career, even so far as taking a rather long break since their last album. Not for nothing, I think that this is a really strong return to form for this band. Founding member and drummer Flo Mornier isn't as big a deal as he used to be, if you ask me, weirdly enough to admit that. I'm admitting that right now. Sure, he was a part of the spearhead of technical drumming that kind of came along, but there are a lot of drummers that are good, if not better, than he currently is.
Wow, you're amazing, dude.
We usually talk about how bloated albums can be on this channel. This is like the opposite of that. It has a fast-paced runtime, and the really good section of this album is right in the middle, whereas the front and back are, you know, a little bit more mediocre. So the meat is really in the middle there. It's real nice. Regardless, 2023 has been a fantastic year for tech death, and to see a classic band like this come out and with something that's more than pretty fucking good, I'll just take that any day of the week. Thank you, Cryptopsy.
All right, one of the biggest metal records of the year, Cannibal Corpse, Chaos Horrific. The only thing thicker than the meaty riffs all over this album is Corpse Grinder's neck. Dude, this is album number 16 here. That is absolutely insane, and it's pretty phenomenal how much these dudes still crush death metal and leave nothing but the bloody pulp left. Chaos Horrific is like a brutal sonic onslaught that feels refreshing and not overly produced despite its modern touch. You've got your signature Corpse Grinder growls, Alex Webster's bass wizardry, and a barrage of relentless riffs that hit you like a freight train carrying cannibal cargo of pure brutality. The guitar work by Rutan and Barrett is just chef's kiss, man, and the solos, fucking awesome. What can you expect? Well, think of it like getting your favorite pizza from your favorite pizza joint. You know it's gonna be fucking delicious, and even though you've had it a million times, you're still hyped to have that slice. Chaos Horrific doesn't reinvent the death metal wheel. That's not a real thing. But it is like a killer sequel to your favorite horror movie.
Fossilization, Leprous Daylight. This is a band that caught our attention in 2021 with the EP He Whose Name Was Long Forgotten, a fantastic fucking record that we talked about right here on this channel. This is their first full length, and holy shit, this band has delivered something exceptional. It's a really great addition to the death doom subgenre in a way that really was completely unexpected. One of the tropes that this subgenre really struggles with is pacing. A lot of bands want to incorporate that doom sound. They really tend to ensure that length matters.
Ew!
Fossilization really did a fantastic job just completely avoiding that overused trope. This band goes straight for the fucking jugular, rips you apart, and leaves you for dead. There's no overstaying or droning on this album at all. This is a highly dynamic, brilliantly paced album that very well could make our end of the year list in the Doom category. Run this one through your Windows Media Player or Winamp.
We're gonna pull a hard U-turn.
I gotta make a U-turn on this.
And go with Baroness Stone. Baroness are a band that I have always loved, man. They're cool, they're hip.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
And they know how to write killer heavy tunes that are just catchy as hell. I've always loved their album artwork too. It's so cornerstone to their sound somehow. It's psychedelic, heavy, and just full of heart. You know it's them. They ditched the color scheme on this record, and don't worry, the album is still symbolic, groovy, and just packed to the brim with character. Picture this, galloping sludge metal riffs that unravel like a mysterious blooming doom flower, psychedelic trips that'll make you question gravity, and John Baisley's vocals soaring high enough that it just touches the fucking stars. It's like they took the blueprint from the Blue record, weird, and spiced it up with the wisdom of Golden Grey and created a rock and roll smoothie that is just tastier than ever. I'm clearly hungry.
Lots of food references.
Yeah, there's pizza and smoothies and... Stone is like a magical ride where Baroness blends their past and present seamlessly. It's a killer soundtrack that just feels like you're cruising the desert and just vibing with being alive. This might be their best work yet, and that's saying something. It's new, innovative, and I am fucking loving it.
Dying fetus, make them beg for death.
A bit more death metal here for you with this pick. This is easily one of the most influential bands on this list alongside Cryptopsy. This trio, led by frontman John Gallagher, came out the gate swinging in their early days with their first handful of releases. The middle of their career was, I think a little bit more sluggish, not in a good way. Their imitators and counterparts were really surpassing them in droves, if you ask us. We've said it a few times here on this channel, Misery Index has quite more often than not proved to be the superior band. Obviously, this album has made a mark, otherwise we would not be talking about it on this list. I'm still digesting some of the other records from this month, and holy shit, there's a lot of them. But man, the replayability on this album in particular is in the fucking stratosphere, dude. I am so excited to spin this again, and I don't say that for a lot of the albums from this year. This album is dense with riffs that will fucking headbutt you and leave you for dead as your throat gets stomped by an undead mutant. I'd say the pacing is just where it needs to be too. There are plenty of reasons to want to go back to this one. Overall, this album both looks and sounds like the band are embracing a new era of grotesque, slamming death metal. Between their 1980s VHS stylized cover art and the violent music videos, these old-timers are not ready to back down yet. They'd rather be dead! Scope this.
Uada, Crepuscule, Natura.
Crepuscular Chirapera.
I love this band, and now that we're getting into Brandon's basic bitch pumpkin spice black metal season, Uada couldn't have come along at a more perfect time. This album feels like a cozy dark corner, man, where time stands still and all you got is just creepy black metal stuff. With only 5 tracks, it's lean and mean, no fluff to be found here. Uada has dialed in their focus on this record, delivering a refined yet unmistakably Uada sound, and I love the flourishes here of classic heavy metal refined in with that black metal sound. The real secret black metal sauce of this band are the freaking guitar harmonies, dude. The guitars dance on the edge of out of tune at times, creating this like eerie and hypnotic vibe. It's done so well, and it's brimming with mysticism and deadly allure. The vocals are also excellent here, not sticking to that typical black metal shrill at all times, but also embracing low growls, spoken words, and shouts to round out that spellbinding sound. Crepuscule Natura isn't just a top-tier US black metal record, it's one of the standout black metal records of the whole year. If for some reason you have not spun this record yet, fix that now, throw it on your playlist, get a pumpkin spice latte, and just thank me later. It's spooky season.
Alkaloid Newman. Alkaloid continues to make a name for themselves now that their 3rd album is in the books. This progressive supergroup metal band from Germany has been grasping at a multitude of influences and inspirations, allowing them to traverse a sort of no man's land of subgenres. I'm telling you, at times, I thought I was listening to a modern, not extreme metal album with this one playing, with that 4 to the floor beat going and the female vocals juxtaposed by the wild blasting and growls. Yeah, it's just a wild ride. Check out what I mean when I say modern. This band, as you look at the lineup, can definitely be labeled into that supergroup territory, as Hans Grossman has created this band, and you may know him from the band Obscura. He departed that band and started this band, and here they are, man. He has grabbed a multitude of very experienced musicians, especially in the vocal department. That is really one of the highlights of this album. There's a lot of variation on this record, really weaving in between extreme and accessible. This is a sleeper hit in the progressive subgenre. If you're a fan of that sort of cutting edge prog death that bands like Obscura, Rivers of Nile, or Fractal Universe are doing, you've got to be getting on top of this one.
You got to bounce on this record.
Bounce on it. That's it.
Bye. What did you think of the metal records in September? Let us know down in the comments below, and check out some of our other videos right here.
Go with the gods, Forgemates. Make them beg for love and kindness.
And death. We're wrapping up the spooky season, but it doesn't have to stop.
There are amazing records. You need to hear them. Stick around. On Thorns I Lay. This self-titled record came out of left field and stunned many of us that were expecting another ho-hum record from this Greek melodic death doom band. Well, spoiler alert, folks, almost all my picks here today are sleeper hits. I'ma prove it to you. That is a clip from Raise Empires, easily one of the best fucking songs from 2023 in the subgenre, maybe if not in all of extreme metal this year. Who would have thought that On Thorns I Lay would get scooped up by Season of Mist and drop one of the best fucking melodic doom records of 2023? Certainly not this guy, probably not him either. Motion to Brandon with your dick? I can't do that. And that right there was Thorns of Fire, yet another one of the best songs of the album and maybe of the year. You want to know what's cool too? You've already heard 2 of the 6 tracks from this record. It's a very well-paced album, especially for a doom album. I love seeing bands late in their career kind of come out with something monumental and that just hits really hard. This is absolutely one of those records. If you're like us and require a melodic doom metal album to live, spin this one.
Let's kick it off with Sorcerer, Reign of the Reaper. Sorcerer's 4th album, Reign of the Reaper, showcases their epic doom metal expertise. At 47 minutes, it's their shortest album yet enhanced by its tight and thrilling moments. The Swedish band's brand of epic doom often leads toward slower power metal now, where Christian and Peter's guitar work shines with fiery leads, harmonized lines, and soulful solos, often elevating the heaviest doom riffs that I've heard this year. The album opens up with the stellar Morning Star, a triumphant composition featuring dynamic drumming and charismatic vocals from Anders Ingberg, and a chorus dude that just ends all worlds. It's so good. Thy kingdom will come, and unveiling blasphemy sit comfortably in the Candlemas-inspired epic doom zone. I want to live in the epic doom zone. And this is some of their finest work to date. Throughout the album, Sorcerer's professionalism shines through here. Their attention to detail, top-notch production, and an enduring hunger for music that's both mature but also passionate sets them apart from other doom acts that are alive right now. Reign of the Reaper is a testament to their classy, well-crafted approach to epic doom, and I've had this album on constant rotation all month, man. It's really good.
Afterbirth, in but not of.
These New York death metalers have delivered a sleeper hit with their 3rd album. I don't think it's going to be much of a sleeper hit by the time this comes out, though, because there's a lot of traction on this record. I found this one scrolling the latest on Metal Storm and noticed I had a very high rating. The artwork drew me in, and once the screws were tightened, I was fucking hooked, bro. This album is equal parts brutal, caveman-style, beat-down death metal.
Caveman.
Contrasted by atmospheric, grooving alt metal that I'd expect from acts like Soundgarden or Failure. Seriously, I've never, ever heard anything like this. When I did some further research, I discovered some notable members are in their lineup. Colin Marston was on the synths and did some background vocals, and on the mixing board. He's a big producer these days. And former Helmet bassist, I guess I can't say former anymore because they're still around, David Case is on the case.
What is going on?
On the low end. I was like, dude, all of these atmospheric spots are now just making a ton of sense for me. I'm gonna save my in-depth review probably for the end of the year list because this is absolutely gonna be on there. If you wanna hear napalm death and brutal truth violently collide with the Pixies and U2, yeah, Listen to this fucking record.
Let's get gory with Autopsy, Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts. The minute I threw this album on, I had to check to make sure that I wasn't blasted back in time.
Back to the future.
Man, did they nail the old school feel here, and it fucking rips. Autopsy is one of the legendary purveyors of old school death metal, and they return with Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts, their 9th album following the impressive Morbidity Triumphant in 2022. Despite the short gap between releases, Autopsy delivers death metal with a playful and adventurous twist here. The album opens with Rabid Funeral, featuring their classic punk thrash energy, and Chris Reifert's unique vocals are all over this record too. However, the song takes an unexpected mid-tempo turn, allowing for meandering horror-inspired guitar solos, and it works really well here. The Well of Entrails showcases a doomier side of the band too, reminiscent of Candlemass and Trouble. And as the album progresses, it offers diverse influences from stoner doom to full-out thrash metal fury. With a concise runtime of 42 minutes, the album maintains a deathly punch throughout. Ashes demonstrates Autopsy's enduring creativity and adds another solid chapter to their legacy of gruesome fun, proving they're still at the top of their gory game after 3 decades of classic brutal releases.
Nocturno Inside. One of my most anticipated albums from this month has made it to the only list that matters, the best of the month. You know what, Forge mates? For a long time, I was listening to the same old stuff over and over again. But being here in the Forge with Brandon has not only introduced me to you, Forge mates, it's also introduced me to some of my favorite bands, Nocturno being one of them. I first discovered this band with their debut release, Obsessions, which we just played a clip of. It was a pretty decent record, but certainly nothing that was going to crack into our end of the year picks. Well, guess what? Nocturno has completely defied my expectations with this album. It is beautiful and haunting, with an utterly captivating vocal performance from Italian metaler Kiel. Sorry about that pronunciation. This band's trajectory is fucking insane. If you want cold, introspective black metal with a touch of Italian instrumentation, don't sleep on this one. This is a dominant album of the year contender for me in the black metal category, for sure.
Keep your pistols holstered, folks. We got Wayfarer, American Gothic. I'll admit, ever since their first record, I've had a really hard time connecting with Wayfarer's brand of black metal, attempting to fuse old Americana and the Wild West with evil blackened riffing. This album though, dude, they fucking nail the sound. And I've been absolutely addicted to it. It's like Woven Hand and 16 Horsepower wrote a black metal record, and I love it. The atmosphere on this album is unmatched, partly because the music behind it, but also because of the production masterfully crafted by Arthur Risk, nailing that old school dark metal sound with a dash of mysticism. Wayfarer's American Gothic is a pinnacle of their discography, breaking new ground in the black metal genre too. The album captures the duality of the violent and beautiful landscapes they draw inspiration from, creating a captivating sonic experience that occasionally transcends the boundaries of the genre. Beyond its musical prowess, American Gothic carries a haunting and furious message, serving as a warning about the consequences of perpetual conflict in our world. If you want to hear country riffs and sad boy vibes with black metal, check this one out.
Restless Spirit After Image. This is a three-man stoner doom band that has been steadily and consistently putting out some top-tier music, dropping album after album at a machine gun pace since 2019. When I looked at some of the feedback that this album has received so far, I think some of y'all have been a bit too hard on this record. I don't think some of you have been very fair.
Wrong.
Calling it generic stoner doom is just very diminishing of the real potential that I've found on this record. When I think of a classic stoner album, they're often a full course meal of riffs, empathy, and introversion. This album is no exception. After Image is a masterclass in the psychedelic stoner doom variety, weaving through the greatest tropes that this subgenre has to offer throughout its 39-minute runtime. Nothing feels overly drawn out or stoned, and the guitar on this record is fucking fantastic. While the production isn't the most spectacular aspect of this album, it's probably not going to stop you from listening to it. There's something really special about this. If you're into Corrosion of Conformity, Chemists, and High on Fire, quit sleeping on this one.
Relentless slayer, caller of the storm.
Sulphur Aeon, 7 Crowns, and 7 Seals. Sulphur Aeon, with almost 15 years of history behind the band, has risen to prominence in Germany's extreme metal underground. Their unique blackened death metal style, featuring atmospheric and gothic elements, has earned them critical acclaim and a global fan base. Their latest album, 7 Crowns and 7 Seals, places greater emphasis on their enigmatic ways, resulting in a murky but very ferocious record. The album commences with the atmospheric track Somber Tidings, seamlessly transitioning into the vicious track Hammer from the Howling Void. This powerful start to the album combines grating death metal with compelling leads, creating a dark and imposing atmosphere. Usurper of the Earth and Sea exhibits a more measured approach with its monolithic sound, blending melodic leads with sinister overtones. Sulphur Aeon continues to evolve with each album, and with 7 Crowns and 7 Seals arguably being their best work to date in my opinion, the album's complex blend of elements creates an ominous and engaging atmosphere here, offering wide appeal across the spectrum of death metal fans. Sure, it's a little more accessible compared to their other records, but it pays off.
The Lion's Daughter Bathhouse. This one shouldn't surprise some of you because this band is truly on the cutting edge of this unique mashup of blackened industrial, sludge, and darkwave.
What are you saying?
Their 2021 record Skin Show absolutely skinned us alive with its vicious take on this unique subgenre. Take a listen to that record. While the album in question is not quite as good as Skin Show in my opinion, I also don't want to dismiss it as being unlistenable. In fact, what's really unique about this record is how it fluctuates, with every other song being like a premium level song in terms of quality, writing, musicianship, etc. Here's one of those tracks, She Does Not Exist. So you're just getting slammed over the head with these killer tracks, and interspersed, it's pretty damn good music. Probably only label a couple of these tracks as fillers. I don't even think the title track is really nearly as good as some of the others on this record. Either way, this is not an album to be slept on. There's a wild blend of extreme music on this album, and it should be heard with curious ears. And that album cover, fucking creepy as hell, almost as much as Skin Show.
Svalbard, The Weight of the Mask. This is easily going on our album of the year list. The band, known for their fiery convictions, confront personal turmoil on their fourth album, The Weight of the Mask. While the album may not be as overtly political as their previous works, it remains profoundly compelling in a lot of ways. Svalbard delves deeper into the dreamier black gaze-inspired sounds, resulting in a richer and more beautiful sounding landscape than ever before. Songs like Defiance and November blend enthusiasm with cinematic peaks and vibes, evoking some strong emotions. The lush guitars and Serena's vocals create a poignant atmosphere, even without delving into the lyrics. However, beneath the beauty, though, lies an unflinching sense of desperation, which I really appreciated. Serena's raw and brutally honest vocals and lyrics captured the pain of depression. Tracks like Faking It and Lights Out provide an accurate portrayal of this mental struggle. The Weight of the Mask is a heavy record, offering an intense look into the depths of human suffering. At the same time, it showcases Svalbard's focused and intricate songwriting, making it a potential masterpiece in their discography. This is a record that just makes me want to hug the band because everything is going to be okay. And the music is just so meaningful, and I can 100% relate. Love this album. What metal records did you dig from October? Leave them down in the comments below and check out some of these other videos right here.
Go with the gods, Forgemates, become a wayfarer.
We're approaching the end of the year, but we got one more best of list and we're doing November.
This list is cursed.
Stick around for it.
Kicking it off with Carnation, Curse Mortality. Carnation's third album, Curse Mortality, solidifies the Belgian death metal band's position within the genre. With a concise runtime of just over 35 minutes, the album is a precise and hefty display of just killer death metal. Opening with Herald of Demise, the band sets the tone with twisting riffs, thunderous ass drumming, and impressive guttural vocals that just pack a weighty punch all over. While Carnation stays true to the death metal formula, Curse Mortality introduces some surprises that add to the album's allure. There's some clean vocals throughout, which are pretty fucking killer if you ask me. The title track, at 7.5 minutes, demonstrates the band's experimental side, building an immersive atmosphere before just exploding into primal metallic rage. Overall, Curse Mortality is a testament to Carnation's growth and creativity. In a year filled with notable releases, Carnation enters the scene late and just kind of steals the show in the death metal category for me. Definitely check this out if you haven't yet.
Suffocation hymns for the Apocrypha.
Something that we certainly didn't expect when we started this program was just how many seminal bands from our childhood and teenage years would still be going at it. Suffocation is certainly one of those bands, with most members in their mid-40s and early 50s. Remember, kids, age is just a number. Your mentality is what counts. Except for your drummer. Your drummer has to be young and athletic. There are no exceptions to this rule. Notably absent from this lineup is original vocalist Frank Mullen, and it is with great sorrow that I say, I don't really miss him.
Forgiveness, please.
The Scorch member Ricky Myers does an amazing job here in the vocal department. I mean, by now, Frank's style, it's not as unique as it used to be, so I don't think there's really any surprise that they were able to find somebody else that could do a similar voice and tone. What really matters here are the songs, and they're as dissonant, haunting, and grotesque, and brutal as ever. This album leans a little bit more into the atmosphere of madness and insanity versus dropping 10 tons of slam onto your lap every 90 seconds. At points, it reminds me of something I might hear from Incantation, which is no surprise because I think they just went on tour with Incantation or Immolation, one of those guys. Very much leaning into the creepy factory versus the moshing factory. Take a listen. There's definitely nothing groundbreaking or monumental here for this band, but I really enjoyed the dissonance matched with the intensity on some of these songs. Check it out if you haven't already.
Next on my list is Nightcrowned Tales. A Swedish black metal outfit, Nightcrown delivers an impressive third album with Tales. Building on the success of their previous release, Hadn't Fired, the band's melodic fusion of black and death metal is expertly executed across the 8 tracks of the new offering. With a foundation rooted in the coldness of 90s Scandinavian extreme metal, Nightcrown bring a contemporary fervor to their sound, resulting in a compelling and highly engaging metal album. With a runtime of 43 minutes, Tales features aggressive fury, atmospheric grandeur, and melodic might. All skillfully blended with elements like guest vocalists, clean singing, and additional instrumentation that add to the atmosphere of the record. Nightcrown pushes themselves here to new heights, employing dynamics, great layering and structuring, and just killer riffs to assert their dominance over the blackened landscape that they inhabit. Tales is thoroughly enjoyable, man, and it's a satisfying journey into the realms of furiously blackened darkness, showcasing Nightcrown at the peak of their musical prowess.
Exulansis, Overtures of Uprising. Our friends over at Bind Room Recordings have a real knack for finding talent in the American black metal scene, and this band has a pretty stacked roster of experienced musicians. Hailing from the other side of the country, Exulansis takes my favorite blend of neofolk, black metal, and doom, tossing them onto a blank canvas and adjusting the colors and saturations to paint a musical landscape that kept my attention throughout its 30-minute runtime. The bookends of this album showcase a desire to want to blend the extreme and Baroque styles, and it falters a bit, if you ask me, with the vocals on the last track being a bit off-putting rather than creating a great closing element to this record. Where this record really shines, however, are the 2 middle tracks, the title track and A Movement in Silence. Take a listen to one of those. More of that, please. This record reminds me of the 2021 Transcending Obscurity release, The Intimate Earth by the band Feld. Some of you may remember how much I gushed over that album's use of fiddle, female vocals, and black metal-inspired viciousness. Excellensis has that capability, and they cram it into this 30-minute record quite well. I know the band also released another album in conjunction with this one. Unfortunately, the reviews I've seen haven't been super enticing, but remember, it's all subjective, and the only opinion that matters is ours.
Shalamagognar. This band is a renowned Swedish black metal entity, presenting themselves with their third opus, Convergence, marking a pivotal moment after their lauded emergence and a progressive detour from transience. With the sole musician, Nimblekorg, at the helm, the album unfolds over 10 tracks, commencing the captivating instrumental odyssey, I Hear the Mountain Weep. This expansive composition spanning 10 minutes intertwines sweeping melodeath riffs and impeccable twin guitar artistry. Follow the River introduces vocals ranging from harsh growls to delicate cleans against a backdrop of intricate instrumentals blending progressive and also atmospheric black metal elements. Nimblekorg's solo venture here showcases a seamless fusion of melodeath and black metal, and it's a testament to his phenomenal musicianship on this record. While Convergence may not eclipse the debut's brilliance, it reinforces this band's stature, affirming their consistent and impressive journey into the black metal adjacent landscape. The album's sonic scenery, marked by progressive nuances and atmospheric richness, underscores the band's enduring legacy, solidifying their position as stalwarts within the realms of Swedish black metal.
Death Heaven Sunbather re-release on Death Wish. I'm going to keep this one relatively short because, well, there isn't really particularly anything new on this album as far as performance goes. What is new and fantastic on this 10th anniversary record, however, are the dynamics that have been introduced on this utterly brilliant sophomore record from a monumental American band. This album had a pretty flat mix when it first came out, and that's changed with this re-release. The quiet parts are more subtle and less in your face in a way that doesn't feel like they just dropped the levels down. The nuances are unique with this remix, and I really appreciate that. This band is on tour, playing in Boston tonight as we record this. Go see them live if you haven't already. It is an amazing experience for sure.
Aeternus, Philosopher. This marks the 9th release from Norwegian Black Death outfit Aeternus, boasting current and ex-members of Gorgoroth and Galsword. Philosopher spans 39 minutes, and it's a pretty tight runtime, and it's a testament to Aeternus's prowess in blending dark death metal with esoteric black metal elements. The album skillfully navigates brooding atmospheres and mysterious tones. Aeternus strikes a great balance here between weighty growls and also riff-centric focus of death metal and the evocative grace and mystical aura of black metal. The band's songwriting proficiency shines through here with compelling riffs and hooks seamlessly embedded within their music. The blackened grooves exhibit a level of sophistication that elevates them above the ordinary too, showcasing Aeternus's keen selection of standout parts and purposeful songwriting. The album's introspective moments add an intimate and nuanced layer too, which I really enjoyed, complemented by that melodic touch that seamlessly weaves into the overall fabric of the record. Philosopher is a professional and highly skillful record constructed by some serious musicians who really understand their craft, offering a darkly rewarding experience for fans of black and death metal. Definitely check this out if you somehow missed it.
Sea Mosquito, Igitur.
What are you saying?
I barely know how to describe this album, dude. It's like the cinematic soundtrack to a 1990s horror noir video game. Something akin to like Max Payne fused with Hexen. It's weird.
I can be very, very persuasive.
On the surface of the Sea Mosquito, we have a talented black metal act that has the ability to dial in those wild, avant-garde, industrial tropes that many of us have come to expect from modern black metal. What comes out of this album is so much more than just dissonant chords and chilled screams, though. It includes sounds that I would expect to hear from down-tempo house music from London. It's like basement warehouse subdrops that are in the background of some of these songs. It's really cool. The dynamics on this album are amazing, taking you from the depths of blackened hell to the very towers of Babylon where TR-808s and sick fucking synth lines reside. This is super unique. If you're a dork for weird abominations in the black metal subgenres, like I am, scope this one out.
Hinayana, Shatter and Fall. Hinayana, hailing from Texas. I couldn't believe that they were from Texas when I figured this out, but they wasted no time turning heads with the melodic death metal landscape. After an impactful EP, they swiftly followed up with a self-produced debut, carving a niche within the genre, and they made some serious room for themselves. Now signed to Napalm Records, their sophomore effort, Shatter and Fall, is a thunderous leap forward, man. The opener, Slowly Light Collides, weaves an acoustic intro seamlessly into thunderous riffs, signaling the band's substantial growth on this record. Mind is a Shadow features Aether Realms of Vincent Jackson. It also masterfully blends guttural lows and high-pitched shrieks, adding layers to the melody, and I kind of wish that this was more on the record because it really works. Anthemic tracks like How Many Dream and The Answer deliver intense instrumentals and accessible vocals, balancing that aggression and engagement that you would want on a Melodeath release. The fusion of cavernous riffs too and soaring melodies reflects a melodic death metal hallmark here, executed flawlessly by the band. Closing with a re-recorded version of Taken from their 2014 demo, the album showcases the band's serious evolution. Shatter and Fall positions Hinayana as contenders in melodic death's upper echelons, offering a diverse, hard-hitting record that hits at even higher and greater potential. I see a lot of really, really great things for this band in the future. Definitely check them out.
Last but not least, Helga, Wrapped in Mist. This is a debut album from a band that roots itself in the darkened folk genre like a druid in the gazing forests. This album truly crosses multiple boundaries, pulling at threads from neo-folk and shoegaze and even some pop here and there. Fuck yeah. Like a musical specter, cloaked in a veil of mist, Helga weaves through these subgenres with a lot of poise. At times, this band really embraces the Alcest and Led the Scraith vibes. Other songs give me a more profound, crippled Black Phoenix or even Oceans of Slumber vibes. There's a real devotion to musical expression, and these threads of diverse influences create a rich, intricate sonic landscape. Yeah, this band has found something special with this album. I immediately bought a shirt of theirs on Bandcamp. I'm pretty stoked for that to come in. For everyone that was kind of meh about Mercure, those that wanted some blackened elements with your folk metal, you are going to eat this album up. This very well could end on my end of the year list. It's that fucking good. Which, hey, by the way, we've got those lists coming out all throughout December. Be sure to look out for our favorites of the year.
We're approaching the holidays. Get your loved ones some nice merch. We got some Forgemaster shirts down below in the comments. What did you dig from November? Leave it down in the comments below and check out some of our other videos right here.
Go with the gods, Forgemates. Your mortality is cursed.
That was our supercut. Thanks so much for watching. If you have tuned in before, we appreciate you so much. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. Help us out however you can. Thanks so much for your time. Go with the gods, Forgemates. Take care.